Good morning or good afternoon, whenever you're watching this video. This is Dina and Stephanie, and today we're looking at Unit 3. Stephanie, what article did you read?
I read the K through 12, the makerspace, robotics, artificial intelligence, that one.
Awesome. I read the one on the Chinese and forget the whole name of it. That's terrible of me. But the K through 12 with the Chinese education. So let's go into the first standard. Model digital age work and learning. This is for teachers. So what did you find to support this standard, Stephanie?
In the K through 12, we read about the makerspace and the robotics. I really liked the makerspace because it incorporates everything. It's where they're creating their own product however they want, whatever they see that they fit, whatever fits the content. You just have to get the supplies to make it. So them going through and creating trial through error, they're actually going through the scientific method, and it's really good because you get to use 3D printers. They get to see their product. So one thing teachers would have to do to implement that is actually understand the tools such as the 3D printer or whatever it is that they're using.
Very awesome. Yeah, I read about the maker spaces too. I like that. Something else I read about was it's the massive open online courses, which is something like similar to what we're doing, and it really allows teachers to get feedback from the students and to adjust the learning with the online systems by doing that. And I just thought that was really interesting. It also opens up a world for those students who can't come to school, like who might have disabilities and things. So it would allow those teachers to get in touch with those students and use that online platform to teach those students.
So it's all online, or it's
all online, yeah. So, because I know that there are students in the past who have gotten sick, they're at home and they don't have any way of doing their work, and this would be a great way to get to those students. So, I thought that was interesting.
That is.
Okay, moving on. Students, creative communicator. In the article I read, they talked about the flipped classroom, and that's really, I think, really big on the communicative part. Like students are working with each other, they're doing project-based lessons and things, and they have to be able to communicate. And in the world we live in today, communication is not anymore just writing letters or talking face-to-face with people. It's learning how to send emails. It's learning how to have that online presence. And I think with a flipped classroom, you're getting all of that. You know, you're working with students face to face, but you're also able to talk to your teachers in an online platform. There's so much of it. And a lot of the flipped classroom is on the students now. It's moving from an educator base to a student-centered learning. And I think that really opens up that communicative door for those students. What about you?
So in the K through 12 article, they discussed how there are artificial intelligence. That was really cool because students get to practice and they get to communicate online. So it really does build their communication because they get to practice. It's different, and I like it because I feel like it is a little bit more non-intimidating because it's a computer right now, but it gives you the skills that you need and that you do need to acquire. As you said, there has to be communication through various pathways now. It's not just 1 and 2. And so I did like that because it did provide so many options. It wasn't just one way, and it was online. And it did provide things that you couldn't get just in person.
I really like that. I never heard of that before. That's interesting. Okay, we have a second standard for students, the global collaborator. What did you find to support this standard?
So this one, it was called the Internet of Things. That's what it was really called, the Internet of Things. And they were able to do a lot with it. And they can go past just locally, just their classroom. They could go through communications through other students in different ways. That was a little hard one for me, but it was really interesting. It was. I had never heard of it either, and it had a lot to offer.
Awesome. I read about mobile learning, which to me, I never really thought about it, kind of like what you were saying with the one that you looked at. And it's, using mobile apps with built-in social features, and it enables the learners to share questions and collaborate on creative projects. And for me, so much of the time we're with the kids, put your cell phones away, they can't focus. But there's so much when they get into the real world, they're gonna be on their phones. Like when we do things in meetings, sometimes we have to get on our phones. And I think anything that lets them collaborate with other students, I mean, is great, because if you do it correctly. And I think sometimes, as teachers, it's not done correctly, but if you can learn and you can get some training on how to do that, the mobile learning, as well as the flipped classroom, the makerspace, all of those things are open up to that collaborative unit. So let's move on. Coaches, digital age of learning environments. So going back to I learned so much in this article, like makerspaces, the open online classes, the mobile, so much of that. Coaches can do so much with that in the school with teaching their staff. I think it comes back to something you and I discussed before, though, is just having those teachers who are willing to try these new things. And I think, this year in our school, makerspaces, our librarian's really taking off with that concept. And she's trying to make it adaptable to students who are using the online platform. And I'm not sure how she's going to do it, but I look forward to that. And I think our coaches are trying to do more with our teachers in getting them to open up to the idea of the flipped classroom, making it student-centered. So I think there's a lot for coaches to do with technology today. I just think the challenge is getting some of those teachers to open their eyes to it. Mm-hmm. What about you?
I agree. There is a lot of times teachers don't do it because they don't know how, or there isn't proper training. They may say they offer it, and they do, but a lot of times it can't just be a one-time training and that's it. Mm-hmm. Especially with everything we've discussed, it has a lot of components. It has a lot of technology innovations. Mm-hmm. And they need more training. So after reading this, after reading robotics and the artificial learning robotics, they mentioned that a lot of jobs are being pushed out because of robotics. So many robots, they're cheap now, they're efficient. Just like if you go to Walmart, if you go to Kroger, they don't have as many cashiers, they have the self-checkout. Mm-hmm. So they're waiting out jobs. And to know all that, you have to learn. So I think as coaches, it's important to understand that it can't just be a one and quit it. It has to be, let me evaluate this and let me see, okay, how did you do good on this? What do you need help with? And so as you said, your flipped classroom, the Internet of Things was similar to the massive online community, the one that you talked about, where coaches may be able to do that, maybe set up a platform like that for teachers so that they can see what they need help on, as you said, gain feedback to help build themselves too.
Mm-hmm. I like that. You make some good points there. That was good. Administrators, so digital learning culture. What did you find to support this standard?
So based on what I read as well, administrators, and you mentioned this last time, administrators have to do their research. They have to see what's going to be best, what has the best outcomes for their students. Just as the robotics, the flipped classroom, if you're going to implement that, I feel administrators also need to do their research and say, okay, well, what do my teachers need? Is it worth it for this amount of time? Or should this be done in middle school? Should this be more beneficial towards elementary? Or whatever it is, it looks that administrators have to do their research. One of the ones that it talked about, I'm not sure which one, it mentions where if you're going to choose this, you have to know X, Y, and Z in order to implement this correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I was thinking about the relevancy of sometimes picking this technology and making sure that it's relevant to what your students have to learn, because a lot of people, they can get caught up in the gadgets. Oh, this is beautiful, this is fun, but if it's not relevant, then is it really worth having it in your school and bringing it into your learning culture? I think, like all the things that I read about the flipped classrooms, the maker spaces, they're all excellent ways of pulling in technology into the classroom, but it has to be relevant. And it's up to the administrator to kind of take the lead on that, to make sure that they're sticking with the vision and the mission of the school and making sure that whatever is going on in the classroom fits with what the students have to be able to accomplish to be successful.
I agree, because a lot of the technology is not cheap. It requires a lot of upkeep, a lot of upgrades. And if the school is going to invest in that, like you said, is it going to be relevant? Is it able to do all these things that I need it to do? So I really like that point. I completely agree.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's the last standard for us. So if you feel free to leave any comments, let us know how we did or how we can improve. So thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
Bye.